Did you know that 100 million species of marine animals died from plastic waste alone? Every year, billions of pounds of trash and different toxins enter the ocean. Where does this contamination come from and where does it go? Contamination, undesirable waste released into the air, water, and land by act, is the biggest natural reason for sickness in this present reality. And STEP with the National Library of Medicine website is accountable for an estimated 9 million unexpected deaths annually, gigantic financial misfortunes, the disintegration of human resources, and the corruption of biological systems. For instance, fabricated synthetic substances are delivered into the oceans from plastic waste, which can cause human endangerment like cancer. Individuals are also introduced to hurtful algae blooms and poisons from eating tainted fish and shellfish, items anyone can eat on a day-to-day basis. These poisons can cause dementia, amnesia, other neurological harm, and demise. Ocean contaminants add to climate change. For example, plastics come from fossil fuels and radiate ozone-depleting substances. Environmental change will additionally affect plastic contamination motions and fixations in its worldwide circulation. Various pollutants also have a great measure of health impacts on people, including loss of neurocognitive ability, cardiovascular effects from mercury contamination, and unsafe algae blooms. Ocean contaminants, including plastic, the majority, affects everything. The two heavily affected by ocean pollutants are the global climate crisis and the human race. Ocean pollution is an important but insufficiently recognized and inadequately controlled component of global pollution. The ocean and its environments and species are ordinarily the focal points of plastic contamination studies. According to the National Institute of Environmental Health Science 2021, plastic waste makes up an estimated 80% of marine pollution. About 10 million metric tons of plastic waste enter the oceans each year, killing seabirds, fish, and marine mammals. Plastic separates into smaller pieces called microplastics that retain a scope of synthetic compounds drifting in the marine climate, including pesticides and poisonous metals, which are considered to be most dangerous to marine animals and humans. As quoted by ABC News 2022, a few regions like the Mediterranean, East China, and Yellow Seas as of now contain hazardous degrees of plastics, while others risk turning out to be progressively contaminated from here on out. Plastics are from non-renewable energy sources and keep on producing ozone-harming substances like greenhouse gases at each phase of their cycle. As a result, for decades, the ocean has warned consistently, working together with worldwide climate change. As per the National Library of Medicine, introduced by Annals of Global Health 2020, they have taken up over 90% of the abundant heat delivered into the environment. The mean ocean surface temperature is increasing by 0.13 degrees Celsius each decade. The recurrence of marine heat waves has dramatically increased. Further effects of climate change on the seas are expanding in the force and recurrence of outrageous climate occasions. Likewise, climate change, ocean surface warming, and sea contamination give off an impression of expanding the recurrence and seriousness of hurtful algae blooms. According to Science of the Total Environment 2022, finally, both issues occur throughout the marine environment and show that ecosystems and species can be particularly vulnerable to both. According to Stanford News 2022, with an estimated 8 million metric tons of plastic waste escaping to our oceans each year, plastic pollution adversely affects the environment, climate, and even our health. Ocean contamination is a complicated combination comprised of mercury, plastic waste, and organic dangers, such as destructive algae blooms. Coal burning is a significant source of mercury contaminations in the seas. At the point when coal is singed, mercury enters the environment and ultimately washes down for the ocean. For example, according to the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences 2021, when a pregnant lady eats a mercury-polluted fish, the mercury can harm her kid's developing mind, bringing about IQ misfortune and conduct issues. In adults, utilization of mercury-polluted fish increases risk for heart illness and dementia. Hurtful algae blooms create cyanobacteria in the water that duplicates rapidly to form green or blue-green water, filth, or mats. Cyanobacteria can cause skin irritation and gastrointestinal diseases, and at times produce poisons that cause serious well-being effects on individuals. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website, for both human and animal illnesses, gastrointestinal diseases and generalized signs and symptoms were most commonly reported. Moreover, elevated supplement levels and algae blooms can likewise bring on some issues in the water. Unsafe algae blooms discharge poisons that spoil drinking water, causing diseases for animals and people. Ocean contamination affects the climate change crisis happening presently, and these impacts can adversely affect human well-being. Contamination of the ocean is inescapable, deteriorating, and inadequately controlled. Human involvement that discharges undesirable and frequently dangerous waste into the ocean is a significant source. Despite being innately connected, plastic contamination and climate change crisis are many times explored in confinement and surprisingly set in opposition to one another for rivalry, for commitment, and financing. While we recognize that plastic production isn't the significant contributor to greenhouse gas emissions and effects are generally unique between the differentiating crises, when simplified, the main cause is something similar: overconsumption of limited resources and has consequential effects. Additionally, ocean contamination adversely affects humans' well-being and prosperity. The size, seriousness, and geographic scope of these impacts are expanding. At the end of the day, ocean pollution is not only harming the Earth, but additionally harming humankind. As quoted by Jacques Cousteau, oceanographer, "The sea, the great unifier, is man's only hope. Now as never before, the old phrase has a literal meaning. We are all in the same boat." Thank you.